What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Saturday, May 25th. Not exactly what we were looking for there on Friday, guys. It's looking very likely to be a break-even day. We saw Toronto minus 107. That one just went off the rails immediately. The Royals minus 120. That was an easy win. The Dodgers minus 158. What is wrong with the LA Dodgers right now? I have absolutely no idea. The Giants made a big comeback for us, so we hit the Giants plus 120. That one felt pretty good. Right now, guys, we have the Phillies minus 1.5 and Cleveland minus 110. It's looking like that Phillies minus 1.5 is not going to come through for us right now. We do see Cleveland, though. They are cruising right along. They're up 10-2 in the top of the sixth. So it's looking like it's going to be a 3-3 day for us. We're going to hope we can get things back on track here. Although a break-even day is not the end of the world, guys. But we're going to look to find some wins here on this big Saturday slate. First, do me a great big favor, guys, and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in here every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be down in the pinned comment below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We have the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Detroit Tigers. Like we were talking about there in the intro, guys, the Blue Jays were not able to get the job done yesterday. They lost 6-2 in that one. They're now 1-1 in this little series they've got going on, and they're 23-27 on the season, so not great. Handing the ball in this one to Jose Barrios, who's 5-3 on the year with a 2.98 ERA, and he's coming off a decent but not great start against the White Sox of all teams. Guys, it seems like teams are just kind of, I mean, maybe not teams, but pitchers at least are struggling a little bit against the White Sox at times. I don't know if this is just a case of like looking past this team or something, but Barrios didn't seem to have his best stuff, guys. He gave up 8 hits over 6 innings, 3 earned runs in that one. Just didn't look amazing, and he was coming off a great start against the Baltimore Orioles where he looked fantastic. So not really sure what's going on there with pitchers having these like weird problematic starts against the White Sox, but we don't see him going against the White Sox in this one at least. And yeah, the Blue Jays bats not looking too hot. They scored only 2 runs in game 2 of this series. Game 1 they won 9-1, so this offense kind of hot, kind of cold, kind of all over the place. We do see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's killing it right now, definitely climbing. That batting average is all the way up to 288, so that's nice to see. But overall, this team not great offensively, tied for 26 in the majors in runs scored, so they're going to need to put up some sort of offense here against the Tigers, who come into this game fresh off of that game 2 win. They're handing the ball in this one to Reese Olson, who's 0-5 on the year, but he's sporting a 2.16 ERA. The poor guy just gets absolutely no run support, it feels like. I mean, his last time out wasn't great, guys. He only went 2 2/3 innings, but I'm pretty sure that was a range shortened start. If you guys wanted to check that, I'm pretty sure that's correct. But in his start before that, he gave up 3 hits and no runs to the Miami Marlins in a game his team lost 1-0 in 10 innings. Like, this guy has been absolutely lights out. No notes for him. He's pitching as well as he possibly can. He's a young guy, so got to be very exciting for the Tigers to see such a young dude, 24 years old, out there just absolutely killing it game after game. It'd be nice if they could find some run production though for him. And man, the Tigers, they did score 6 runs in their last game, but over the course of the season, they've been terrible offensively. 21st in the majors in runs scored, 25th in on-base percentage, getting on base at a 301 mark. That's not going to get the job done. Their current batting average leader right now is Riley Green, guys, and he's batting 235 on the season. This is just not a team that can hit the ball at all right now. Not looking too good, and the odds makers have this one as kind of close to a flip. We've got the Blue Jays at minus 116, the Tigers at minus 102. We've got an over-under in this game of 8. Guys, I'm pretty sure with Barrios and Reese Olson out there on the mound, I like the under in this game quite a bit. I don't think there's going to be a ton of offense. We're not super high on either one of these teams offensively. We see Toronto is 28-21 to the under. We see Detroit is 27-20-3 to the over, but I don't see a lot of offense coming up in this game. Go ahead and give me the under in this one. It's got a shot to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we got the San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the New York Mets. Crazy game between these two teams yesterday, guys. We saw the Giants come away with the 8-7 win, so having them at plus 120 felt pretty good, but early on it didn't feel great because this looked very sketchy. But yeah, we saw a grand slam there in the 8th inning, turned things around. Giants take the win there. They're 26-26 on the season, so obviously not exactly what they're looking for, but they'll take it at this point. They've been playing really well lately. They've won 7 out of their last 8 overall, I believe, and yeah, just cruising along, handing the ball in this game to Jordan Hicks, which has to feel great. He's 4-1 on the season with a 2.38 ERA, so he's looking good. His last time out against the Rockies, obviously not the best team out there, but he went 5 innings. He had only 3 hits and a single earned run over 5 innings, like I said, so not bad at all. His start before that against the Dodgers wasn't bad, so this guy's been showing he can even be solid out there against elite offenses. And the Giants offense, while it hasn't been elite this season, is definitely trending in a positive direction, guys. This squad is looking well above average at the plate. They're up to 8th in the majors in batting average, 9th in the majors in on-base percentage. They're tied for 14th with 219 runs scored. Like, this team for sure trending in the right direction. I mean, we saw Patrick Bailey hit that grand slam, go-ahead home run. Like, that was just crazy stuff. So feeling pretty good about this team. Definitely have momentum on their side. Going up against a Mets team that's now lost 4 in a row. Can't be feeling great. They're 21-21 on the season. Handing the ball in this one to Luis Severino. He's 2-2 on the year with a 3.48 ERA, and coming off a bad start against the Marlins, guys. He went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs on 6 hits, gave up a home run. This guy's been having control issues. Over his last 3 games, he's walked 6, 3, and 3 batters respectively. Just not looking that sharp out there on the mound. It doesn't feel like he's had his best stuff over the last few starts, and while he has been good in general this season, lately it's left something to be desired, and the Mets offense has to be kind of frustrated at this point. I mean, over their last 4 games, all of which were losses, by the way, they scored 7, 3, 6, and 1 run. Like, you would think you'd win at least 1 or 2 of those games, but yeah, this offense has not been great, guys. They've been slightly below league average all season long. They're 18th in the majors in runs scored, 17th in on-base percentage, getting on base at a 309 clip. Like, that's not exactly going to get me excited. They're 19th in majors in slugging percentage, just not a great hitting team. There's no way around that. Not a great hitting team right now at all. And guys, I'm a little bit surprised to see the numbers for this game. We see the Giants at plus 110 out there with Jordan Hicks on the mound. Like, that's a bit surprising. I guess the odds makers have a lot of faith here in Severino, but man, I've got a good amount of faith here in the Giants bats, and in general, I just really like the Giants a good amount in this spot. This has a very solid chance to end up in the pinned comment again. It's always nice when you can work some solid, even if it's a slight underdog in there, to get them in there, and yeah, like the Giants in this spot, a good amount. Next up, guys, we got the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. We saw the Orioles come away with a 6-4 win in Game 2 of this series, so cruising right along, getting back on track here after that weird series against the Cardinals. They looked pretty good in that game. They're 31-18 on the season. Unfortunately, guys, we do not have a confirmed starter for them in this game. I don't know if this is because Kremer just got put on the IL or what's the deal, but yeah, no confirmed starter as of yet for them, but we do have numbers for this game, so we're going to go ahead and look at it. But in general, we see the Orioles have been pretty solid this season. I mean, they are tied for 11th in the majors in quality starts, 7th in the majors in earned run average, and yeah, guys, they're 3rd in the majors, allowing a opposing batting average of only 219. So I think we will be pretty happy regardless of who gets put on the mound, but definitely wait until we get a confirmed starter for this game before you're actually investing money in it. In general, we're very happy, obviously, about the way the Orioles bats are looking. In this series, they've scored 8 and 6 runs respectively, so hitting the ball well. They're up to 9th in runs scored, still sitting in 1st place in the majors in slugging percentage, so clearly a team that can really hit the ball. We see Gunnar Henderson just continuing to just slug away, guys. He's batting .272 with 17 home runs and 37 RBIs. Like, this young guy absolutely killing it. So feeling very good about the Orioles offense going into Game 3 here against the White Sox, who are 15-37 on the year, not looking great. Handing the ball in this one to Eric Feedy, who's 4-1 on the season with a 3.10 ERA, so he's doing everything he can to give this team a chance, but it's not always working out. And his last start, guys, was not great. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs against the Toronto Blue Jays, so not exactly the hardest hitting team. He walked 1 and struck out 2, so you could make the argument that he's in a little bit of a bounce back spot here. And yeah, prior to that, he's looked very good, but he has had his hiccups this season. I mean, he also had a terrible start against the Cardinals early in this month, so yeah, not somebody I'm crazy high on in this game. And looking at the White Sox offense, you're going to need to pitch pretty well for the White Sox if you're trying to get a win, guys. They are dead last in runs scored, dead last in on-base percentage as a team, getting on base at .279. Yeah, that is an insanely bad on-base percentage for a team to have, guys. Their slugging percentage is also dead last. Like, this is not a good hitting team whatsoever. This offense stinks. And looking at the numbers for this game, it makes a lot of sense to me to see the Orioles at -184, the White Sox at +155. We got an over-under in this game of 8.5. Not something I'm super interested in, but looking at the numbers for this one, guys, I'm definitely going to lean towards the Orioles. You'll have to wait and see whether this ends up in the pinned comment or if we go with the Orioles against the run line or anything like that, as we don't have a confirmed starter yet. So just a lot of things still up in the air for this game. Next up, guys, we got the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Rangers come into this game not playing well, guys. They've lost 5 in a row now. They lost 3-2 in Game 1 of this series. They're handing the ball in this one to Michael Lorenzen. He's 2-3 overall with a 3.61 ERA, and coming off a pretty reasonable start against the Angels. Unfortunately, guys, we have seen the Rangers lose all 5 of his last 5 starts, guys. hasn't really been his fault. I will say that Oakland A's start was terrible. That one was his fault. And maybe his red start back on the 27th was his fault. But overall, this guy has been very, very good. I mean, great start against the Angels, great start against the Guardians, and a very good start against the Kansas City Royals. All games that his team lost. Like, not his fault there. This guy just hasn't been getting much run support. And yeah, the Rangers offense not looking great. They've scored 2, 4, 2, and 1 run over their last 5 games. Like, yeah, pretty depressing stuff. They're down to 11th in majors in runs scored, 10th in the majors in on-base percentage. Nobody's particularly hitting the ball great for them right now. Like, not a lot of positives to say here about the Rangers. And they're taking on the Twins, who are turning things around again. This seems like a team of runs. That players-only meeting must have worked. 3-2 win in game 1 of this series, 3-2 win in their last game of the series against the Nationals. They're now on a 3-game winning streak. They're 27-23 in the season. Handing the ball in this game to Chris Paddock, who's 4-2 overall with a 4.47 ERA. Coming off a very serviceable start against the Guardians where he went 8 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 3 hits. He did give up a home run in that game, but he struck out 6 and walked nobody. So a huge bounce back from getting shelled by the Yankees. And in general, Paddock has looked very, very good this season. Not a lot of complaints from me. His numbers are very inflated by just like 1 or 2 questionable outings. And overall, he's looked very, very good and given his team lots and lots of chances to win games. So definitely looking at him as a plus starter in this one. And the Minnesota offense, not killing it right now, guys. I mean, 3 runs in each of their last 2 games isn't insane. They are down to 13th in the majors in runs scored. They're only 24th in on-base percentage. So that's definitely something I look at a lot in terms of like overall offense, like how good a team is, you know, how likely they are to be producing runs and whether they're overachieving or underachieving given the numbers. And yeah, right now it looks like this team is overachieving. I mean, team batting average is 20th in the majors. Team on base percentage is 24th in the majors, but you're scoring the 13th most runs. Like, that seems a little bit questionable to me. So definitely not super high on this offense. Looking at the odds, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Rangers are plus 110. The Twins are minus 125. We've got an over-under in this game of 8.5. Guys, in general, this isn't a game that I'm super, super interested in. I mean, I think both starting pitchers are looking relatively decent. I do have a lot of questions about the Rangers' bats right now, so that's probably going to make me lean towards the Twins, as I think we can see Paddock have another good outing. So go ahead and give me the Twins minus 125 in this game, but it's a pretty small lean for me. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Braves took the loss in game 1 of this series. They lost 11-5, so that probably doesn't feel great. They're handing the ball in this game to Reynaldo Lopez, who's 2-1 in the year with a 1.54 ERA, and coming off a very solid start against the San Diego Padres. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 5 hits, struck out 4 and walked 1. A very solid start. He actually hasn't given up a home run over any of his last 3 starts. He's been looking very, very good out there just in general this season. He just isn't figuring in a ton of results, which not really his fault. Not a ton you can do about that. He hasn't been getting a ton of run support. And yeah, the Braves bats, I mean, kind of all over the place right now, it feels like to me. I mean, in their series against Chicago, which is the series before this one they just started, they scored 3-9-3. Like, not terrible, but not amazing. And then in game 1 against Pittsburgh here, they lost 11-5. So not great. Their offense just, yeah, not consistent, not as good as they looked there in the early goings. They're down to 16th in the majors in runs scored. They're still top 10 in all the other major categories, but yeah, we don't really see Marcell Ozuna swinging the hottest bat anymore. I mean, he got off to that crazy start, but he's cooled off a little bit, and yeah, just not a ton of positive things to say about this offense right now, although they have been good over the course of the season. They're going to need to keep things rolling here against the Pirates. Really, they're going to need to turn things around against the Pirates because Pittsburgh came out and scored 11 runs and won 11-5 after that very frustrating loss to end their series against the Giants. They're only 24-28 on the season, but they probably don't feel like they're out of it right now. They're handing the ball in this game to Mitch Keller, who's 5-3 on the season with a 3.84 ERA, coming off a great start. Well, maybe not great, but, well, a borderline great start against the Chicago Cubs, guys. I mean, he gave up 2 earned runs over 6 innings, only 2 hits. He did walk 3 and strike out 3 in that game, so it wasn't as good as his start before that against the Brewers, where he struck out 7, walked none, and gave up no runs over 6 innings. So just in general, this guy's been throwing the ball really, really well, and the Pirates offense seems like it's coming alive. I mean, over their last 4 games we'll look at here, they've scored 7, 5, 6, and 11 runs respectively. Like, this offense showed a lot of ability to score runs here in the early goings of the season, but had tailed off hard. They're moving kind of in the positive direction here. I mean, I'm not going to exactly like freak out about this team right now at the plate, but they are trending in a positive way. 23rd in runs scored, that's a number that's headed up. They're 23rd in on base percentage, another number that's headed up. Like, we'll give this team a little bit of credit here for swinging some relatively hot bats. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, we've got the Pirates at plus 138, the Braves at minus 150. We've got an over-under in this game of 8.5, and guys, I'm not really too confident in a side on this one. I mean, I think the Pirates could have their chances in this game for sure. Reynaldo Lopez, though, has looked very, very good, so that makes it a little bit questionable to me. We also see Mitch Keller has looked great, and the Atlanta Bats haven't looked amazing lately. So, guys, I'm going to be leaning towards the under in this game pretty hard. I mean, under 8.5 seems extremely reasonable. We've got Atlanta. They're one of the best under teams in the majors. They're 29-16-2 to the under, and Pittsburgh's 24-24-3 over under this season. So they're pretty much a 500 over under team. So go ahead and give me the under in this game. And yeah, guys, there's a non-zero chance this ends up in the pinned comment. Moving right along here, guys, we got the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Mariners come into this game losers of their last 3 in a row. That can't feel great. They lost 6-1 in game 1 of this series. There was somebody in the comments telling me that I was giving out bad picks on purpose, saying the Nationals were likely to win this game, and they won 6-1. So, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. Looks like we were on the right side of that one. Really sad I didn't put it in the pinned comment, though. That's my bad, guys. Hope you jumped on it anyway. But regardless, looking at the Mariners right now, they're 27-25 on the season, handing the ball to Logan Gilbert, who's 3-2 with a 3.20 ERA, and coming off a couple of not his best starts, guys. I mean, back on the 9th, he had a really terrible start, by far his worst start of the season against the Twins. He followed it up with a decent but not amazing start against the Kansas City Royals, and then his last time out, he really was in trouble. It felt like the entire game against the Yankees. He went 6 innings, gave up 8 hits, 3 earned runs, walked 1, and struck out 1, but he didn't give up any home runs, and his team eventually won the game 5-4, so we'll definitely give him credit. But yeah, I don't think we can look at him as really throwing the ball great right now. He's seemingly finished with that crazy hot start he had. So we're going to need the Seattle Mariners offense to step up and score some runs, and they have not been doing that lately, guys. Over their last 3, they've scored 3, 0, and 1 run, respectively. All season long, this has not been a good offense. They're 26th in the majors with 191 runs scored, 26th in the majors with an on-base percentage of 301. Like, this is just flat out not a good offensive team, and they're going to need to score some runs here against the Washington Nationals, who won 6-1 in game 1 of this series. They're only 22-27 on the season, but for a team that came into the year with very little expectation, I guess it's not crazy to see them where they're at. They're probably pretty happy with where they're at, to be honest. They're handing the ball in this one to Trevor Williams, who's 4-0 on the year with a 2.35 ERA. He's been absolutely lights out. However, his last start wasn't great, guys. It was one of his worst starts, but when you're going up against the Philadelphia Phillies, I think that's a little bit to be expected. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs on 5 hits, so not a disaster start. Like, he didn't get absolutely shelled out there, but he was giving up some hits, giving up some runs, and we're taking on the Phillies. Can't be too disappointed in yourself when that happens. So yeah, just looking at the Washington offense now, it hasn't been great, obviously. I mean, they're 28th in the majors in runs scored, 28th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, this is not an elite offensive team by any stretch of the imagination, but they're also not terrible, so we'll definitely give them a little bit of credit here. And they were hitting the ball well in their last game, so maybe they've got the momentum on their side. But looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Nationals as big underdogs once again. Washington is plus 148 in this game. The Mariners are minus 176, and we've got an over-under of 8.5. We do see Seattle is only 12-14 on the road, which isn't nothing, guys, and Washington is 8-12 at home, so we're going to lean towards Washington again. I mean, plus 148 is very good. Trevor Williams is a very good pitcher, and the Seattle offense is not amazing. So, yeah, I don't really know if this is going to be a pinned comment play for me, but I think the Nationals plus 148 is definitely in play. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Oakland A's. The Astros and A's are currently playing right now. They're in the top of the 8th inning with Houston up 6-3, and they've got runners on base. So things are looking very, very good for the Astros in that one. In this game, they're going to be handing the ball to Spencer Arrighetti, though, which has been a bit of a problem overall this season, but he's trending in the right direction, guys. He's 2-4 on the season with a 7.16 ERA, and he's been throwing the ball better. Not amazing, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, his last time out against the Milwaukee Brewers, he gave up 4 earned runs on 7 hits over 6 1/3, but it's a lot better than the guy was looking early on in the season. He's had some good starts. I mean, he had a good start against Oakland back on the 13th, so that's something to take into account. He's got experience against this opponent, and he had only 2 earned runs over 5 innings, which is very good for him, so definitely got to look at that as a positive right now. And the Houston Bats have been looking better. I mean, this squad, it's just kind of tough to figure out. They should be scoring more runs than they do. I mean, they're first in the majors in batting average, 4th in slugging percentage, and 5th in on-base percentage. So definitely looking for this offense to trend in the right direction. And I mean, they're up 6-3. They scored 6 runs in this game, only 1 in the game before that, but 6 and then 7 the games before that. So things are looking pretty good for this offense. They're hoping they can keep things rolling against a team they dominated in a 4-game series only a few days ago, the Oakland A's. They come into this game. They actually played pretty well in their series against the Rockies, but not off to a great start here against the Astros. They're 21-31 on the season, handing the ball to JP Sears, who's 3-3 on the year with a 4.31 ERA. And coming off a not amazing start against the Royals, guys, he went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs on 5 hits, so not great. In his start before that, he was very good against the Houston Houston Astros and a weirdly low-scoring game, guys. He went 5 innings, he had 5 hits and only a single run, but it was a home run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, so not exactly like mow him down kind of stuff, but he did have a pretty decent time holding the Astros hitters in check. Got to give him a little bit of credit there, but yeah, looking at the A's offense, on the other hand, it's very hard for me to get excited about them. I mean, they did just score 10 runs against the Rockies, so give them credit where credit is due, I suppose, but there's a reason this team is 23rd in the majors in runs scored and 27th in on-base percentage. Like, yeah, this team has some work to do at the plate, guys. They're 28th in the majors, getting, like, with a batting average of 223. Like, not insane at all. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Astros at minus 138, the A's at plus 125, and we got an over-under in this game of 8.5. We do see Houston as a concerningly bad road team. They're only 6-13 on the road. I guess they're probably about to be 7-13, but still not exactly something you're going to write home about. The A's are 12-14 at home, which isn't terrible, but also isn't great. No major trends towards the over-under in this one. I mean, we do see Houston slightly towards the under, and the matchup between these two pitchers did go way under the last time they were on the mound, but I don't think we can bank on that to necessarily happen again. Guys, I'm leaning towards the Houston Astros in this game, minus 138. That seems like a very reasonable price. Are we afraid to be backing Spencer Arrighetti out there? You better believe it. We are very afraid. So this is super unlikely to end up in the pinned comment if you ask me, although he did look very good against the A's his last time out, so we definitely have to give it some consideration, but I think minus 138 will end up just being a little bit too expensive for me to make this a core play. Next up, guys, we got the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Royals come into this game playing some of their best ball of the season. They've won 7 in a row now. They're just absolutely killing it. They won game 1 of the series 8-1. So picking up right where they left off after sweeping the Tigers. They're just looking good right out of the gates in this series. Handing the ball in this one to Brady Singer, who's 4-2 on the year with a 2.70 ERA and had a very good time his last time out against the Oakland A's, giving up only a single earned run over 6 innings. He did give up 6 hits in that game, but he also struck out 9, so definitely give him some credit there, and it was a good bounce back from a little bit questionable start against the Seattle Mariners, but in general, this guy has been fantastic this season, so definitely Royals fans have to be happy to have him on the mound, and they've got to be pumped with how this offense is looking, guys. They're swinging some of the hottest bats in the majors right now. They scored 8, 10, 8, 5, and 6 runs over this winning streak, guys. Sure, those were games against the Tigers and the Oakland A's, but man, this team absolutely killing it right now. And yeah, this offense powered by Salvador Perez and lots of other guys in general, it's feeling like now looking like a top 10 major league offense, which is not something I had on my MLB bingo card for the season, was not the Royals offense being amazing. So they're definitely pretty pumped, hoping they can keep things rolling here against the Rays, who have happened upon some hard times, guys. They've now lost 5 in a row. They're 25-27 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Aaron Savale, who's 2-4 on the year with a 5.92 ERA, so not exactly killing it, guys. His last couple of starts haven't looked great. He got knocked around a bit by the Red Sox. His last time out was against the Blue Jays, and he gave up 5 runs. 4 of them were earned over 6 innings. He gave up over 5 1/3 innings on 6 hits. He gave up a home run in that game. He walked 4 in that game. Like, just not looking amazing out there, and neither is the Rays offense. Obviously, going on a losing streak, you're going to see an offense put up some pretty bad numbers, and yeah, they've scored 1, 5, 2, 0, and 2 runs over this losing streak. Like, they're down to 19th in the majors in runs scored, 16th in the majors in batting average, 13th in on-base percentage, but 25th in slugging percentage. Like, this is just not looking like a great offensive team right now, guys. No way around that, and yeah, the odds makers seem a little bit confused on this one, guys. They've got the Royals plus 100. They've got the Tampa Bay Rays at minus 116. Guys, I don't love taking the Royals on the road a whole bunch, but there's no way we can dodge this one. Brady Singer is a monster out there. I'm not super high on Savale right now. Give me the Royals plus 100 in this one. I think they find a way to get another comfortable win. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Milwaukee Brewers going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Brewers come into this game fresh off of a 7-2 win in game 1 of the series, so they've got to be pretty pumped about that. They haven't been playing their best ball lately. There's no way around it, but looked good in that one. They're up to 29-21 on the year now. Handing the ball in this one to Colin Ray, who's 3-2 with a 4.07 ERA, and coming off of a pretty bad start, guys. And he got knocked around by the Houston Astros. In the start before that, he got knocked around by the Pirates, not a team you're looking to give up a ton of runs to. Start before that, he didn't have a great time against the Royals. Like, there's a reason this guy's ERA is headed upwards, and it's not because he's looked amazing out there lately. I mean, his last few starts have been a little bit questionable, and Before this game where they just scored 7 runs, the Milwaukee bats were looking a little bit questionable too, but they came alive in this one. We saw Contreras hit a 2-run home run. Like, in general, things are probably looking up for this offense again, I would assume. I mean, they've been a top 5 offense all season long. They're 5th in the majors in runs scored, 4th in the majors in on-base percentage. I mean, if you're getting on base at a 331 clip, like, good things are going to be happening for your offense. You're going to find a way to score some runs, and they're hoping they can score some runs here against the Red Sox, who are 26-25 on the season now after that loss, and handing the ball in this one to Nick Pivetta, who's 2-2 on the year with a 3.04 ERA, and coming off a great start against the Cardinals. It was the Cardinals, so we'll take that with a grain of salt, but they've been playing better lately, so, you know, maybe a grain of salt each way there, but he went 6 innings, gave only a single earned run on 1 hit. It was a home run, and he struck out 8 in that outing. His start before that, he looked good against the Tampa Bay Rays. Start before that, he looked pretty bad against the Atlanta Braves, though. This guy's had his bad moments this season, but not too many of them. In general, he's looked pretty good this season. The Red Sox bats obviously fell asleep there in Game 1 of this series, and while they've been good, they haven't been what I would term elite. I think this is going to settle at around an average offensive team, if you ask me. I mean, I don't think they're going to be elite. We don't see any, like, you know, hitters out there that we're really super scared of in this lineup, and they're only 11th in the majors in on-base percentage, 12th in the majors in runs scored, so we'll see what this offense is actually able to produce here, but they are going up against a pretty weak opposing pitcher, so the numbers for this game pretty much make sense to me, guys. We see the Brewers at plus 125, we see the Red Sox at minus 136, and we've got an over-under in this game of 9. We do see 9.5, actually. We do see Milwaukee is 29-19-1 to the over. We do see the Red Sox are also a pretty significant under team, so not super interested in the over-under in this game. Guys, I probably lean towards the Red Sox in this one a little bit. I have very little faith in Colin Ray, but overall, I think this is a game I'm going to slightly stay away from or just trend towards taking the Boston Red Sox. But yeah, not going to be a core play in this one for me. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Dodgers, man, they are looking terrible right now. They've now lost 3 in a row. They lost 9-6 in Game 1 of the series. Like, how do you give up 9 runs to the Reds? Like, they have looked terrible at the plate for most of the season. All of a sudden, we just see them the Dodgers giving up a grand slam. Like, things just looking terrible right now. Not a great times for the Dodgers, losing 3 in a row. I mean, it's a baseball season, so obviously it's a long stretch. They've got a long time to get the ship back on course here, but man, not looking great. Not the hottest team right now. They're handing the ball in this one to Walker Buehler, who's 1-1 the year with a 4.05 ERA as he works his way back in, and man, this kid is coming off an insanely good start, and it was against the Cincinnati Reds, guys. He went 6 innings, gave 3 hits, no runs while striking out 7. That was at home against the Reds, and now he's going to be pitching at the Great American Ballpark, but still, gotta feel great putting Walker Buehler out there on the mound. Other than that, though, how great do we feel about the Dodgers? I mean, they did score 6 runs in this game, which is a lot better than the 0 they scored in the game before that, and I expect them to keep scoring runs here against the Reds. I mean, we saw Ohtani look terrible at the plate there in the first game of the series, and obviously he's not somebody that we expect to go into some sort of, like, long slump or anything like that. This team is 2nd in the majors in runs scored for a reason, guys. 5th in the majors in batting average. They're getting on base at a 336 clip. They're slugging the ball at a 430 clip. Like, this is an elite offensive team, and they're not taking on a great opponent, guys. The Cincinnati Reds, despite this last win here, haven't been incredible. They're 21-30 on the season. Handing the ball in this game to Hunter Green, who's 2-2 in the year with a 3.22 ERA. He just had a start against the Dodgers, guys, where he looked pretty solid. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave only 2 earned runs on 4 hits. He also struck out 8 in that one, which is pretty impressive, but man, your second time against the Dodgers in such a short time span might be a little bit tough. We'll have to see how he actually does out there. I've got my questions about how he'll look, and we also have our questions about the Reds' offense. I mean, they did manage to score 9 runs in Game 1 of this series, so more power to him, but this team is 20th in the majors in runs scored, dead last in the majors in team batting average, only batting .215 as a team. They're 28th in the majors with an on-base percentage of .294. Like, this is a bad offensive team. And guys, while this might not end up in our pinned comment, I do like the Dodgers. Once again, I know, color me shocked. Of course, I like the Dodgers, but man, do you really want to take the Reds plus 132 in this game or the over-under of 9.5 or 9? Like, I do not. The Dodgers are 13-8 on the road. We saw that Walker Buehler is great against this team. Even if it's a low-scoring game, guys, I like the Dodgers in this one a good amount. Give me the Dodgers minus 150. We might just keep this out of the pin comment on principle with how questionable the Dodgers have been looking lately. Next up, guys, we got the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road here to take on the Colorado Rockies. Crazy game yesterday from the Phillies. They were one of our losses. Looked really dumb out there. They lost 3-2 in extra innings, so not amazing. We saw Bryce Harper get himself ejected in the first inning. Like, that's pretty fun. Love to see that. I mean, just a lot of nonsense from the Phillies in this game. I think they're one of the best teams in the majors. I don't think they should be letting things like this derail them. And Harper, man, I don't know what but whatever. Moving on. Phillies 37-15. Coming into this game, they're handing the ball to Aaron Nola, who's 6-2 on the year with a 3.05 ERA, and he looked good, maybe not dominant, but definitely good in his last start, guys. He went 7 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, 3 runs overall. He did give up 2 home runs, but it was a game we saw the Phillies win 7-5 or 11-5 against the Nationals, so not really a game that was in question at all. And this guy has looked amazing. I mean, he had a complete game back on the 14th against the Mets, where he went 9 innings, gave up only 4 hits, and struck out 8. Like, Aaron Nola looking dominant out there. And the Phillies offense, with the exception of last night, have been one of the best offenses in the majors all season long. I mean, they're first right now in runs scored, second in team batting average. Like, this team is absolutely killing it at the plate right now, as long as they can keep themselves from getting ejected. And they're going up against the Rockies team, which has not been great, guys. I mean, they did win game 1 of this series 3-2 in extra innings in the 11th inning, so they'll take it, but yeah, not a lot of optimism for me for this squad. They're handing the ball to Dakota Hudson, who's 1-7 on the year with a 5.89 ERA, so that's not great. His last few starts have been slightly better, but I mean, giving up 3 runs, 2 of them were earned on 5 hits over 4 2/3 innings to the San Francisco Giants. Not exactly the kind of start that's going to fill me with a ton of optimism. This guy has not been going deep into games. He's been giving up walks. He's given up 2, 3, 5, 2, and 4 walks over his last 5 starts, and he has yet to make it into the 6th inning. Like, not super excited about this guy. Not feeling it. Or he's yet to make it through 6 innings. So yeah, not super excited about this guy on the mound, and not excited about the Rockies offense, especially going up against a solid starting pitcher. I mean, they are 11th in the majors in batting average, so there's some reason for optimism out there, but there's a reason this team is 22nd in the majors in runs scored. They're only getting on base at a 306 clip. Like, this is not an elite offense, and we see the odds makers definitely think that as well. They've got the Phillies at -230 in this game, the Rockies at +194. We've got an over-under in this game of 10.5, and guys, we may have to look at taking the Phillies -1.5 in this game again. It seems a little bit annoying after their mediocre performance in the game before, but if you take them -1.5, you can get them at -155. If you take them -2.5, you can get them at +100. Man, going up against Dakota Hudson and hitting here at Coors Field, it does make me kind of think about taking the Phillies -2.5. It seems like a crazy spot, but the Phillies are a major league best 15-6, or I think 15-7 maybe now on the road, so that's pretty crazy. And the Rockies are terrible right now, so I have very little faith in them putting up a bunch of runs here against Aaron Nola. So go ahead and give me the Phillies in some fashion. I'm not sure how you're going to want to take them. I might leave that up to you guys. I don't know that this ends up in the pinned comment since it's such a chalky play, but I think the Phillies in this spot are going to be mad after game 1 of this series. I think they're in a very good spot. Also, taking the Phillies first 5 probably doesn't feel like a bad bet at all. Next on the docket, guys, we have the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. Cleveland comes into this game. They are currently up 10-4 now in the bottom of the 8th inning, so they're holding on to that one, giving up a couple runs, enough to make us a little bit nervous, but not too nervous, guys. This team's been playing great. They're hopefully about to cash in their 7th win in a row here, and they're handing the ball in this game to Tanner Bybee, who's 2-1 on the year with a 3.93 ERA, and coming off a couple very good starts, guys. His last time out, he dominated the Minnesota Twins. He gave only a single earned run on 4 hits over 7 innings, so that's a great performance. He struck out 8 and walked only 1 in that game. Start before that, he looked very good against the Rangers. He went 5 1/3, gave up no runs on 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks in that game. Like, the guy is throwing the ball great right now. He's a young dude. He's looking very good out there. The Guardians have to be pumped with what they're seeing out of him, and probably not too disappointed in what they're seeing out of their offense here. I mean, they just scored 10 runs in this game, 6 in the game before that, 7 in the game before that. Like, they're swinging some pretty hot bats. They're back up to 5th in the majors in runs scored, 12th in the majors in on-base percentage, so that's not, like, the most amazing number, 18th in batting average. Like, this offense has room to improve, and maybe when they get healthy, they will improve, but right now, they're finding a way, and they're putting up a lot of runs, and that has to feel pretty good for them going up against an Angels team that, while they've been playing slightly better lately, guys, this team is only 20-30 on the season. They're going to have to make a very big, very depressing for us comeback to get the win in their current game. They're handing the ball in this one to Jose Soriano, who's 2-4 on the year with a 3.30 ERA. He has also looked very good in his last 2 starts, guys. 7 2/3 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run against the Rangers. Before that, 5 1/3 against the Cardinals. In a game he only gave up 2 hits in, so definitely looking solid. He is a guy that's going to walk at least 1 or 2, well, at least 2 or 3 hitters in pretty much every start. But other than that, he's looked very, very good, albeit maybe not against the best opponents, but he does have a start already under his belt against Cleveland back on the 3rd of this month, where he went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, and no runs. So that's a little bit concerning. We did see Bybee get shelled by the Angels only, actually that was back on the 3rd also, so definitely a concern heading into this one. And we aren't too concerned about the Angels offense overall. overall since it hasn't looked great, but man, they definitely seem to have Bibby's number, so that's a concern for me. And this has been like an average or slightly above average offense this season, so not exactly a cupcake team. I mean, we've seen them hang on to the rope a little bit better than I expected with Trout going down. They're 14th in the majors in runs scored. They're 10th in the majors in slugging percentage. So Bobby better watch out a little bit here against a team that had some success against him. And man, seeing the Angels at plus 114 and the Guardians at minus 125 is pretty appealing. I mean, the Angels are a terrible home team this season, guys. They're looking to be 6-17 at home this year, which is the MLB worst number. But man, leaning towards the Angels a little bit here with Soriano on the mound and Bibby on the mound for the Guardians. I mean, Bibby looks terrible against the Angels. Soriano looked great against the Guardians. So go ahead and give me the Angels plus 114 in this one. Definitely playing the trends of those two pitchers. We'll see if this ends up in the pinned comment. It seems maybe a little bit sketchy to lean that hard on it, especially with Bibby being a young guy. Like, he could just have not had his best stuff that day. So we'll see if this ends up in the pinned comment, but I think the Angels are in a pretty reasonable spot. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. This game is currently going right now. They're in the bottom of the ninth inning with San Diego down 8-0. So Yankees definitely came through in that one, looking very, very good. They're up to 35-17 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Marcus Stroman, who's 3-2 on the year with a 3.05 ERA, and coming off a great start against the Mariners where he went 7 1/3, gave up 3 hits and only a single earned run in that game. He struck out 6 and walked 1. Like, that's been his best control game in his last 5. Looking very, very good out there, and he's even looked good against some slightly tougher opponents. I mean, maybe not great, but decent. He's got good starts against Seattle and Minnesota over his last 2, so has to feel pretty good, but maybe a little bit tougher to go up against a Padres team that has some bigger bats on it. The Yankees in general, though, have looked great lately. I mean, their offense is killing it. They're up to, 8 runs scored in their current game, 5 in the game before that, 7 in the game before that, like 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 4th in the majors in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage. Like, this is just an offense that can absolutely kill the ball. And the Padres offense, while they looked decent in the last 2 games of that series against the Reds, not looking good in game 1 here against the Yankees, getting shut out. I mean, the game's not over yet, but things not looking too hot. The Padres are 27-26 in the season, handing the ball in this one to Dylan Cease, who's 5-3 on the year with a 3.05 ERA, and he's in a bounce-back spot, guys. He got shelled by the Atlanta Braves his last time out, and neither one of his last 2 starts have looked great. He gave up 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs to the Atlanta Braves his last time out. Like, it's a game that we saw San Diego win kind of in a miracle 6-5, but yeah, it was not Dylan Cease's fault. He did not look good out there, and the Padres bats did not look good in game 1 of this series. They've been, I don't know, guys. This should be a great offense on paper, but it's just not coming together. They're 7th in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in batting average, 6th in on-base percentage, but they're currently getting shut out. Like, they're making a lot of hay here against the bad opponents, and the Yankees definitely don't qualify as a bad opponent if you ask me. Right now we see the Yankees at plus 100. We see the Padres at minus 115, and we see an over-under in this game of 7.5. The Yankees are a very solid road team. They're 17-9 on the road, looking like they're about to be 18-9 on the road. The Padres are only 10-15 at home, so go ahead and give me the Yankees plus 100 in this one. I have a decent amount of faith here in Stroman. I don't have a great amount of faith here in Dylan Cease, so give me the Yankees plus 100 on the road. This has a very legitimate shot to end up as a pinned comment play. Last but not least, guys, we got the Miami Marlins going on the road here to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We saw the Marlins get the 3-0 win in game 1 of this series. They now won 3 of their last 4 overall. They're 18-34 in the season, though, so obviously not amazing. Handing the ball in this one to Sixto Sanchez, who's coming off of a mediocre start against the Mets. He went 4 innings, gave 6 hits and 4 earned runs, and yeah, it's kind of hard to find a lot of positives for this guy. I mean, yeah, not looking too hot out there despite having not faced the toughest opponents. And the Marlins offense, while it's looked serviceable lately, is obviously not great, guys. This team is 25th in the majors with only 193 runs scored overall this season, 29th in on-base percentage, and 29th in slugging percentage. Like, if you're getting on base at a 288 clip, you are a terrible, terrible offense. No way around it. They're taking on a team that's not a terrible offense. The Diamondbacks, although they did look terrible in game 1 of this series, scoring 0 runs, but 24-27 on the year is also not great. They're handing the ball in this one to Jordan Montgomery. He's 2-2 on the season with a 4.98 ERA, and coming off a pretty bad start against the Tigers where he gave up 4 earned runs over 6 innings on 5 hits. Start before that against the Reds wasn't incredible. The start before that one against the Reds was slightly better, but this guy definitely has some work to do this season if he wants to get his numbers up to where I would consider them respectable or elite. And the Diamondbacks offense, on the other hand, has been very good this year. They've looked like a top 10 offense, but at times they've sputtered, but right now they're looking pretty good. I mean, 8th in the majors in runs scored, coming off of a game where they scored 0 runs, so they're in something of a bounce back spot. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Diamondbacks at minus 178, the Marlins at plus 160. 20. Miami's only 7-15 on the road. Arizona's only 12-13 at home. This isn't a game I have tons of faith in here, guys. I mean, give me the Diamondbacks minus 178 if you're forcing me to bet it, but this is not a game that's going anywhere near my pinned comment. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.